Jalen Ramsey is the newest member of the Pittsburgh Steelers in a trade in exchange for Minkah Fitzpatrick. So Minkah's going back to Miami. Jalen Ramsey joins an already pretty loaded Steelers cornerback room. And I'm here to share my live reaction. Welcome in. My name is Mark Bergin here on behalf of the Arthur Moats Experience. And you get a player for player trade in this deal. Minkah Fitzpatrick heading to the Miami Dolphins. And the Steelers are trading for a three-time All-Pro corner in Jalen Ramsey. Ramsey is 30 years old, and he's going to get $26.6 million for the 2025 season. Salaries are similar. Ramsey's is a little bit more, and to me, that shows the positional value that he brings to the table when it comes to his contract. I'm curious to see how these contracts all shake out of how much of that 26.6 million is Pittsburgh paying. Now, Ramsey is under contract through the 2028 season, meaning he wouldn't become an unrestricted free agent until 2029 when he is at the age of 35. However, there is an out for the Steelers in 2026 with Jalen Ramsey in this deal. And again, corners are more of a premium than star safeties at this point in the NFL. So the Steelers trade away Minkah Fitzpatrick. Minkah Fitzpatrick hasn't played at that all-pro level really since the 2022 season when he had 6 interceptions. I've made the argument before, and I would say this again, in that 2022 season for how dynamic Fitzpatrick was as a ball hawk. I thought he was the Steelers' best offensive player in 2022, even though he plays the safety position on defense. But Minkah didn't have any interceptions in 2023. He had one in 2024. So perhaps the Steelers are thinking that, I don't know if slowing down's the right word. I know Minkah had battled some injuries as well when it comes to his dynamic playmaking ability. Limited to 10 games in 2023. He played in all 17 games in the 2024 season. But the Steelers probably figured we're fine at safety because I thought Deshaun Elliott was actually better than Minkah Fitzpatrick this past season. Very, very high tackle rate that Elliott had. I thought he was a great acquisition for Pittsburgh. And then Juan Thornhill. And Juan Thornhill is a player that has experience playing in this conference, playing in this division, considering that Thornhill has played for the Cleveland Browns in his career in 23 and 24, and then he started his career as a member of the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think the Steelers probably feel comfortable enough to say Elliott and Thornhill can be our starting safeties, and then the Steelers can mix and match. They've got Joey Porter Jr., big play Darius Slay, now bringing in Jalen Ramsey. You've got 3 stud corners. And I thought Beanie Bishop in the slot as a rookie, an undrafted rookie, played well considering he was an undrafted player. So I think that the Steelers are loading up at the cornerback position considering how teams have prolific passing attacks. And I look at the division, at the teams in the division, particularly, okay, how do you stop Zay Flowers? How do you stop Mark Andrews with the Ravens? Isaiah Likely? How do you stop, from Cincinnati's standpoint, the duo of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? So I think that's why the Steelers make this deal, in understanding the positional value, that corners are more valuable than safeties at this standpoint. And we'll see if Jalen Ramsey has a little bit left in the tank. You're talking about one of the all-time best corners on his road, on his way to being a Hall of Fame player. Ramsey's played in Jacksonville. He's played with the Rams. He's played with the Dolphins. He's a Super Bowl champion, 3-time All-Pro first team, and a 7-time Pro Bowler as well. The John Facenda video that he put out, John Facenda video he put out, making the announcement saying that he's coming to Pittsburgh, I thought was a tremendous homage to the Pittsburgh Steelers and that tradition that goes back to the 1970s. I thought was pretty cool in the video that he made announcing this news. I thought that that was pretty cool. But you don't typically see this, a player for player swap. And Fitzpatrick goes back to a Dolphins team that selected him 11th overall in the 2018 NFL draft. Now, that was a totally different Dolphins regime because remember, it was Brian Flores who drafted Fitzpatrick. And I know that there was some frustration of he's best as a center fielder, making plays, protecting deep third, deep half, deep downfield in the passing game. And the Dolphins were using him more as a strong safety with what Flores does with defenses, which is why when he moved to Pittsburgh, he had several great years as a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Minkah Fitzpatrick, again, if you go back to that 2022 season, he was as good as any in the league. He's also played at an all-pro level for several years in his career, too. But to me, this also signals that the Dolphins are having a fire sale. Miami has just they now have four captains from a year ago that have left the team. Terran Armstead retired. Calais Campbell's now with the Cardinals. David Long Jr. was released and is now with the Titans. So Ramsey is the fourth Dolphins captain who won't be with the team from last season, now ahead for the 2025 season. What does this mean? I think that this means Tyreek Hill will be available. If you need a stud receiver, Miami's having a fire sale. You might be able to get Tyreek Hill for 50 cents on the dollar with this. And it's not just the big trade between the Dolphins and Steelers. Again, Minkah Fitzpatrick heading to the Dolphins and Jalen Ramsey headed to the Steelers. The Dolphins are also trading tight end Jonnu Smith to the Steelers for a late round pick swap as well. Smith on a 1-year deal will get $12 million. So you've got Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington. You've got Cameron Hayward's younger brother, Connor Hayward. The Steelers have plenty of tight ends. I'd imagine they'd split one of them out wide. I think Pat Freiermuth might be utilized in this offense a little bit more as a wide receiver than a traditional tight end. We'll see if there's more moves in the works for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But Jalen Ramsey, now a member of the Black and Gold, certainly was not expecting this today. And again, the Steelers also getting Jalen Ramsey in exchange for Minkah Fitzpatrick and then Jonnu Smith, the tight end as well. Huge day for Pittsburgh. And again, if you're another team out there, Miami's having a fire sale. I'm just looking into my crystal ball. I'd imagine that the Dolphins are fielding offers for Tyreek Hill at this standpoint as they look to regroup and rebuild their roster. But Ramsey comes over. Again, you got three really good corners in Joey Porter Jr., in Jalen Ramsey, in Darius Slay, who just won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. Beanie Bishop as well as now like your dime cornerback. I'd imagine Juan Thornhill and Deshaun Elliott are going to be your starting safeties, and a huge trade. It's something you don't typically see in the NFL. One other thing, too, I got to mention, Minkah Fitzpatrick's got 2 more years left on his deal as well. So he's under contract through the 2026 season, not due to become an unrestricted free agent until 2027 when he is 31 years old. So 2 years left on his deal there. Again, just really, really surprising news. I really thought that the Steelers would have to trade away some of their draft capital that they've got in the 2026 draft. I think that Pittsburgh's got like 12 draft picks, and to hear that other than this pick swap that they'll have for Jonnu Smith, that they're not going to have to give up any draft capital for Jalen Ramsey is certainly exciting. And we'll see. Jalen Ramsey, again, 30 years old. Hopefully he still has plenty left in the tank for Pittsburgh, and it's really, really exciting. Again, this deal just came out of nowhere today. My name is Mark Bergin. Let me know what you think in the comments in the Yinzer chat, what you think about this deal. And I'll go ahead and sign off here. Hope all of you have terrific holiday weeks with the 4th of July coming up this week. Again, my name is Mark Bergin, signing off on behalf of the Arthur Moats Experience.